This episode sponsored by Brilliant. This right here is a pair of Goffin's cockatoos. Now, I'm sure you've seen a cockatoo, maybe browsing the web or in a locker room. Sorry. Now, it turns out these cockatoos are quite clever. One of the first clues came from Figaro here. A science hippie saw Figaro playing with a pebble, which he dropped through a fence onto a ledge. Wait, Jerry, that doesn't look like a pebble. No, they didn't film the pebble? All right, well, imagine that's a pebble. Not being able to get at it, he went off and got a stick of bamboo and proceeded to try and get that pebble, air quotes, using his stick. Jerry, I said his stick. The science hippie, having been through extensive schoolings, had the thought to put a cashew nut, that's what it was, where the pebble had been. And this time, Figaro broke off a piece of the beam and, oh crap, you lost your, Deus Ex Machina. Anyway, he used that stick to retrieve the nut. Jerry, you're not lining the footage up. Do we have a shot where it gets the nut? All right, this one? Okay, well, he gets the nut. And this was exciting because tool use among animals is rare, but the manufacture of tools is even rarer. It's a terrible word. So they did this experiment 10 more times. Science hippies love to repeat themselves, annoying. And 9 of those times, Figaro didn't just find a tool, he made it. And there they are, all of Figaro's sticks. Damn it, Jerry. But splintering apart your enclosure is a pretty low bar for tool making. So the science hippies wanted to see whether Figaro could make his nut stick out of other materials. Jerry, that line sounds whatever. They gave him a twig, but it had leaves on it which he had to remove. And he did that just fine. Then they went down to Michael's and got a block of larch wood. For this one, Figaro had to crack off a strip and go with the grain. It's a bit similar to that ledge, so no surprise he got it. But then they got him some cardboard, and he had to use a totally different technique, sort of scissor punching holes until he could tear off a piece. So it seems like he knows what the tool needs to be and can make it out of different things. Now, by watching Figaro, some of Figaro's beard friends figured out how to make and use these sticks as well. But what if it was just sticks? What about other tools? So this here is Finny. Finny's treat is in a bucket down a tube, and all she was given was a pipe cleaner. And just when you think Finny's an idiot, you realize she made a hook out of that pipe cleaner. Not so Finny now, is it? And it works the other way too. Finny knows to unbend a pipe cleaner to pull a treat out. Now, skill-wise, not all cockatoos are created equal, sort of like men in undoing bra straps. I mean, Finny's got some fine hooks there, but I'll tell you, I wouldn't hire Moneypenny on that resume. But listen, how did Figaro learn how to use tools to begin with? I know what you're going to say. He learned it from pirates. I mean, out at sea alone for months at a time, you gotta have a cockatoo. Well, here's a clue. This is a YY fruit. Toxic to us, but not cockatoos, who will sometimes eat the seeds. The problem is that getting to the seed is a real bitch. You got an outside layer and then a sort of camel toe looking thing, like a real camel toe. That's a side view, and you got to get through that to a seed that's wrapped in a sort of parchment paper. The science hippies gave some cockatoos these wawai fruits to see how they got to the meats. And they found that some of them, not all of them, made and used tools to open these fruits up. Here, you can see this one picking a tool up right now. For some of these birds, though, one tool wasn't enough. When they got through the outside, some would break off a nice fat twig. Then they do a bit of whittling, and once that stick has been sufficiently whittled, they insert it like a wedge into that camel toe. Then they switch it up. The next part requires finesse. This time they strip off a much smaller piece, and then they work that thing until it's fairly thin. This one seems to be used to pierce through that parchment layer surrounding the seed. Now, if they need to widen the gap a bit, they go back to the beak. But you can see they pouch that thin tool inside their mouth hole. And after that's all done, it's time to get to business. And this time they fashion a Goldilocks stick, not too big, not too little. And they use it a bit like a spoon, scraping out bits of seed and then eating them. Now, not all Goffin's cockatoos do this. Some are like this mooch here, just waiting on the sidelines. But for the ones that do, this multi-tool, multi-step YY business represents one of the most complex uses of tools in any animal without hands. But what exactly is going on in those brains of theirs? Listen, if a cockatoo can learn to get through a YY nut, you can certainly learn math. Brilliant believes that everyone can be a math person. It's all about the way you learn. At Brilliant, it's not about memorizing formulas or watching lectures. It's about getting hands-on with concepts in math and computer science in a visual and interactive way, until those concepts make sense. And those aha moments are how you build genuine understanding and become a better problem solver. Based on your background, Brilliant designs practice sets and reviews that are are personalized to you and helps you move along at a pace that's comfortable and not overwhelming. Algebra and calculus, for example, have a bit of a bad reputation, but Brilliant's course on exponential functions is both approachable and engaging. You can learn what it actually means to go viral. It's not just about having a bunch of views, it's how those views grow. It's a pet peeve of mine. It's a new year and a great time to polish up that big, capable brain of yours. To learn for free on Brilliant for a full 30 days, go to brilliant.org/ZayFrank, scan that QR code on screen, or click on the link in the description. Brilliant's also given you all 20% off a premium subscription, which gives you unlimited daily access to everything on Brilliant. Where were we? Oh, right. Bird brains are different, much smaller, but they have an incredibly high density of neurons. So in the structure that's analogous to our forebrain, responsible for complex thinking, they've got primate levels of equipment. But their brains evolved this capacity separately from ours. And so the question is, how do they think? And what else are they capable of? That's not moving magically, by the way. There's a magnet under the table. This right here is to test whether they can gamble. Just kidding. It's to test object permanence, whether they can hold on to the location of something in their mind that they can no longer see. May not seem that impressive, but this is a big developmental step in our toddlerhood. And let me tell you, they put Pippin here through the ringer on this. Moved the cup with the treat in it behind a box, then back out again and showed them that the cup was now empty. Then the cup goes behind a different box. And meanwhile, Pippin's thinking, God, you people have some complicated eating habits. Now, of course, using your brain to track the location of food seems like a bit of a priority if you've got some smarts to spare. What about when things get a tad more abstract? We've seen, for example, that some cockatoos, like Figaro here, can use tools in sequence. This one's sort of a mashup of basketball and golf, except with a jello shot at the end. If you play that, remember it's my idea. But here's where it gets interesting. All right, this is the setup. To get his nut, Figaro has to use two different tools. The first is a sharp tool which he uses to puncture a membrane. He takes a quick walk around to assess the situation, and yes, those look like googly eyes. Now that he knows the sitch, he grabs what looks like a long straw from a gender reveal Mai Tai to knock the treat down. He does that a couple more times, and now he's a pro at it. But the tools and the apparatus are just right there in front of him. And maybe he's just solving one problem at a time instead of understanding that it's a set of tools that he needs. So what happens when the tools are farther away? And sometimes that screen thing isn't there, in which case you only need the one tool. You can see that Pippin made a nice adjustment. And for God's sakes, look what those birds did to that chair. Now here's Pippin again when he needed both tools. You know, Figaro gets all the press, but I'll tell you, I'm a Pippin fan. So it seems like at least some of these cockatoos have a concept in their mind of the problem that they have to solve. I mean, that's some abstract thinking right there, but there might be some limits to it. For example, if you show them an apparatus first that either requires a stick or a ball to get a treat, in this case a stick, and then you hide the apparatus before presenting them the tools, they'll grab the right tool and then get that nut. But if you show them the tools first, hide them, and then show them the apparatus, they don't seem to remember where the right tool was. It's almost like he hadn't seen the tools at all. Yeah, the ball's not going to work there, buddy. And right here, the moment he realizes it, he's like, fuck this. And then he goes back to the same spot he looked before. Now this might surprise you considering how good they were at that shell game earlier. But it could be that when they see the box with the treat in it first, they have a problem to solve and they start paying attention to things that might help them. But if they see the stick and ball first, I mean, come on, they're birds. Imagine if you memorized the location of every stick and pebble you saw. The other birds would start talking. I mean, they do, but that's a different episode. But all of this is just scratching the iceberg. Jerry, that's not a phrase. Why would you want to scratch an iceberg? It's just the tip. No, not of the iceberg, Jerry. It's not dirty. Anyways, it's just the tip of the surface. Now you got me muddled. I mean, look at this one. It's building an engine. I mean, it's not, but it wouldn't surprise you at this point, would it? These are some intelligent, curious animals. But that intelligence evolved independently of ours. They learn about and manipulate the world around them, not with hands, but with a beak and tongue. And listen, if you haven't seen a tongue on a cockatoo, that's the last one, I promise. It's flexible and crazy strong. Both the tongue and the beak have nerve endings that are sensitive to touch, so it's a little like having a thumb and forefinger on your face. But even if they perceive the world differently, in a lot of ways they seem similar to us. Look at this one, giving a stick to his buddy because his buddy needs a stick to get a treat. I mean, if it was us, we'd probably try to sell that stick. The bird in the back got a treat for doing nothing, but they want the bird in the front to go get a token for his treat. And look what happens. Thinks about it for a second, and then he's like, hell no. You can shove your treat right up your apparatus. Anyway, you can't just stick them in a cage in your apartment with a squeaky toy and think they're doing all right. They're incredibly smart. Is that a goober? Jerry, that's gross. I'm trying to have gravitas. Now, I wanted one wistfully looking off in the distance or something, not some beard chewing on drippy balls. No, I don't want to use AI. It's a bunch of bullshit. I seen a cockatoo, rocking the top knot, unlocking a lockbox, dropping a rock. I seen a cockatoo. I seen a cockatoo, pop like a pop rock, rock pops, cockatoo, cock block, stop. I seen a cockatoo. I seen a cockatoo.